Be discussing is Marcel the Shell with shoes on. Try saying that 5 times fast there.
Marcel the Shell with shoes on. 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 Boom.
I don't know. Chat, tell me if he stumbled. I think he stumbled a little bit in the beginning. You all let me know. I think he did, but you all be the judge.
You got the receipt.
We'll
find out.
Don't worry
when the shit is posted.
Don't worry, I'll have them edited where you stumble. I can edit that. Don't worry. I'll ask the editor to do that.
Choose on. Marcel with shoes on.
So
honestly, I'm kind of shocked you haven't had the editor edit me saying a whole bunch of other fucked up shit yet. I'm kind of shocked.
Yeah, sure, I could do that. Yeah, I mean, add some, do something to it. Yeah. Yeah, that would be kind of exciting, and to see if you actually watch these things when they're posted. I'll be like, oh yeah, how you like the video there? You'd be like, oh yeah, it's great, man, fantastic, best video we've done yet. Yeah.
Meanwhile, you got me recorded saying like, yeah, I believe the insurrection was an absolute right thing to do.
I mean, you could do a lot of great stuff with editing. Yeah, look at Munch Dank. Look what he does. He does whole stories there. Yeah, so Marcel the Shell with shoes on here is a movie which has been getting a lot of attention, great reviews all across the board, like we talked about. Some people say it's the best movie of the year. So getting a lot of great stuff. This is directed by Dean Fleischer Camp, and also starring Jenny Slate. Jenny Slate, people know she just showed up in Everything Everywhere All at Once. She just was in that movie. They had a kind of small role. She's also been in things like Parks and Recreations. Comedic actress has been around for a minute and some other kind of stuff.
I think you're also forgetting the biggest thing she was a part of. She was on Saturday Night Live for several years. She was around in the Sandberg, Bill Hader days.
Yeah. I think her time there kind of gets reduced to that time she messed up and said fuck that time, and then I think that's what people said.
Shit, that was Jenny Slate.
Yeah, and I think that's what got her kicked off. That's what kind of got her kicked off the show.
It's what got her kicked off of SNL. She was the live F-bomb.
Yeah.
And even after she said it, she was like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, she was like, "Oh." I was like, "Oh shit." Yeah. Because I think her character was like it was kind of like she was like a rocker or something like that, and she
was like a punk rocker, and they were like complimenting each other, and she just, I guess, improvised like, "Fucking love you, dude." It was like,
yeah, I think it was. I think if I remember correct, I think it was because she said "freaking," and then she just said "freaking" so much that she said "effing," and then that's when it's like, oh, and she was like, "Oh shit." But yeah, you're right. She was on SNL for all those years. It seems like it's been I actually forgot that. So yeah, she was an SNL star there. But in this movie, she's the voice of Marcel, who is a little seashell there that you see, a little cute little seashell. And
keep in mind, we're not talking like a shell with like a mollusk living in it. We are talking about a literal shell.
A literal shell. A little cute little tiny shell that you see kind of existing in this house there that is being recorded, that a documentary is being made about the life of Marcel. Here you have a self-insert of the director, Dean Fleischer Camp, who you kind of see there. You'll see it somewhat in the movie. And, watching this movie, which is an A24 film, by the way, they're always known for doing a lot of weird, interesting stuff.
It was really weird when Marcel became the May Queen.
She became May Queen, where she, watched somebody get their head cut off. You know what I mean?
Really weird when Marcel hallucinated a sex scene with a mermaid. That was like really oddball.
Yeah. But here, I think this is one of the most sweetest A24 movies, you know what I mean, I think you'll ever will see, or just sweetest movies, period.
It just the fact that this is essentially a children's film and it's released by A24 is kind of mind-boggling.
Yeah. Because of just the nature of the film and the emotion of the film. I think, and the stuff they do with the shell, is it kind of mostly stop motion, or is it CGI, or I
It
think.
it is almost it's almost entirely stop motion with like maybe a touch or two of CGI assistant.
Okay. And watching that, kind of watch this little shell kind of just try to do normal kind of everyday task, and being as tiny as it is kind of fun to watch and very cute to watch, I think. What were kind of your thoughts on this movie?
Yeah, me, I think just the character Marcel, I probably put him on the same level of Paddington, where he where he just has this sense of like innocence and wonder about the world, and just ingenuity and seeing how like this 1 inch tall seashell manages to accomplish like normal day-to-day stuff and how much planning and execution it takes, and just little dry humor that Marcel has when interacting with the director character in this Dean Fleischer camp. It's so kind of heartwarming. And yeah, this is actually based on a short film of the same name and a bunch of YouTube shorts that were also done by Dean Fleischer Camp and Jenny Slate. I think almost like 11 years ago. And this is the first time that we in those shorts we hear about the character of Marcel's grandmother, and here we actually meet her, who's voiced by excuse me, who's voiced by Isabella Rossellini. And we get a lot of mature topics that were dealt with in terms of just like loss and dealing with a relative that's ailing in health. And I think how the film does that, it's beautiful.
Yeah. And speaking about the style that this film is done in, a mockumentary type of style, which I said like seems like that's making a comeback now. A lot of people doing mockumentary, all that style again. And you made the Paddington comparison, which I think is a great comparison to make. I think it makes you feel that same way that Paddington kind of makes you feel, just kind of warm inside. I think, and I think I felt that same way watching Paddington and Paddington too. And especially during times like this when you kind of just want to see something that's just just kind of light, just
Mhm.
kind of fun, and it just kind of just makes you feel good. I think this movie does a great job at that.
Yeah, I spent like the last 2 weeks catching up on a bunch of horror, so I've witnessed a lot of fucked up shit in the past couple weeks, including the remake of Pinocchio. So this was a breath of fresh air for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And to see kind of the whole story of this of Marcel, you see the filmmaker here, like I said, starts to record, starts to do a documentary, and then starts to upload videos of him to YouTube and everything like that. And it becomes a national cultural phenomenon, all around the world, and a lot of people,
Mhm.
got one guy, one Marcel tattooed on his arm there. He's like, I don't know why I did this, but I got it tattooed on me. So you kind of see
Yeah,
that.
and seeing Marcel's reaction because he eventually decides to, hey, can to start like using the channel to help find his missing family,
Yeah.
and also kind of pointing out the satirical, doing a little bit of commentary about like social media and influencer culture because nobody fucking helps them. They mostly just like stand outside of Marcel's house and record TikToks.
Yeah, record TikTok dances and selfies and everything like that. No real interest in actually helping him find his family, which is what he's trying to do, because they tell the story of how they kind of the rest of his family got swept away by a person in the house who kind of packed them up and then left, leaving only him and Connie. Who Connie is there, who's the character that tends to the garden there, who's getting older and then also showing signs of dementia. They're losing a little bit of faculties there, which I thought their relationship was very, very kind of heartwarming there. I thought that was very sweet there. And the who's the voice actor for Connie, that you
Well,
kind of
Isabella Rossellini is the voice of Connie.
ah
She
is
was, yeah, she was in a lot of stuff, and she was in Blue Velvet and Death Becomes Her, and most recently in the HBO Max show Julia.
yeah. I think she does a really great job here, and really shows a lot of emotion through her voice, and to see kind of emotion is very sweet. I think. What were kind of for you? Did you some of the stronger elements with the characters here for you?
the stronger elements with the character because at one point Nanakani kind of deals with a little bit of health complications, and Marcel just gets uber protective, starts turning away interviews, like kind of shuts out from the world. And like the entire interaction between Connie and Marcel, where she is encouraging him to like get out there, live your life, and and there's this line that kind of made me start crying. It's I think Marcel asks Connie is like, "What if things change?" And Connie's response is just, "It will," and which is a very beautiful thing. And I think a topic that I think the film, while I absolutely do kind of too slow pace for like younger kids, I'd say probably like 11 to like 13 is the right time to introduce this kind of film to them because I think it has a lot of messages that need to be heard.
Yeah. I mean, it is a relatively short movie. I mean, it's an hour and 30 minutes. You know, so it is
Mm-hmm.
relatively short. I mean, it is not maybe as showy as something you would see like a Pixar movie,
Mm-hmm.
or something like that that may instantly kind of grab kids. But I do think it is a great movie to watch. You know, if you just sit around with the family, and just kind of enjoy, and a cute little movie, I think, to enjoy, and especially if you sit at home and watching it, I think also you'd be like, hey, this was maybe a good watch. I like this. So I mean, I wouldn't give it a stream it just for that. I mean, I still would give it a very strong tune in. You know, I think you're still able to maybe watch it in theaters in some places. I believe. I know here
Yeah,
you're able.
yeah. Here in the states, it's available to rent on Apple, to rent for I think 19.99, or I think it's to buy, and it'll be available to rent. I think the link I said was like October.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, I mean, I would highly encourage people to support this film too, you know, because of the quality of it. Again, you know, support more kind of movies like this, original kind of movies, with stories like this, I think is important. And to see kind of also, you know, with Dean, you kind of see in this movie, see kind of how he kind of grows and changes, even though the main
Mhm.
focus isn't on him. But just seeing how he learns a lot from watching Marcel. I think is incredibly interesting. Yeah, yeah. I really enjoyed it a lot. I can see what a lot of people really love about this. You think this would be on your best of list?
I'm rewriting my best of list every week, and this may or may not end up on.
And you think it may get Oscar attention?
I think the movie absolutely does deserve Oscar attention. However, I do came out a little too early in the because we're talking about this in because the movie came out in excuse me in what like
June.
it came out in June. It was released had its release in June, and for smaller movies like this, it usually takes being like around like late October to mid November release date to be like remembered for Oscar consideration, even though the film absolutely deserves it.
I don't know. I haven't heard critics talk about a movie this year that strongly. I don't think it's Marcel the
Mhm.
Shell. I think so. Maybe it will stay in the conversation up until Oscar time. So maybe. All right. Yeah. What's your final rating for it?
Oh, the strongest of tune-ins. I watched this movie after being pissed off at the Pinocchio remake, and I spent the next 90 minutes of my life with a giant dumbass grin on my face just watching this movie.
Any issues? You just said it was kind of just slow paced for you.
Uh, um, Not for my taste. I think the first act is a little bit slow paced, just introducing us to the character Marcel, because this film has some legwork to do for people that didn't watch the original short. So I get that.
And you have you seen the original shorts?
Not until after I watched.
And how'd you like the shorts?
Oh, they're just like this movie. They're like small, fun, cute, really wholesome things.
Nice, yeah. So yeah, great work by Jenny Slate. Great work. She wrote the screenplay for this, as well. Yeah, so good work from her. As well as the director Dean Fleischer Camp and a guy named Nick Pally. So, good work. Yeah, that was Marcel the Shell.